and welcome to one of my yoga classes. My name is Lauren. All you're going to need is your mat and maybe some water, and we'll meet on the mat when you're ready. Come to find a nice comfortable seated position on the mat. You can cross your legs or sit onto your knees if this is more comfortable, and then just take a moment to find a nice tall straight spine. Wiggle out any tension that you might have, rock side to side, and just really feel yourself getting comfortable into this position and in the safe space that you're in. Well, then from here, release your legs and bring the soles of your feet together. So you're going to come into a nice butterfly pose. Your knees are out wide, and then as you start to lean forward, inhale to walk your fingertips forward. Allow your body to fold over your legs and get to wherever is comfortable for you. Really breathe into the hips. If your hips are tight, this might be slightly uncomfortable, but with every exhale, just allow your body to relax down. And then inhale to come back up to seating. Sweep your arms up and overhead, really lift out of the hips, and then once again walk your body forward over the legs. You can rest your elbows on top of your knees if it's nice and easier to give a little push to push your knees closer to the ground, or you can splay your arms out in front of you and just relax over the legs. As you inhale, create space in the body, and as you take a nice big exhale, walk your hands back into your body, swing your knees around and find tabletop position on your mat. Come onto all fours, shoulders stacked over wrists and hips stacked over your knees. Inhale here to just take some circles with your spine, circles with the wrists, and in your own time just take whatever feels nice for the body, as slow or as quick as you like, and then come back to neutral, move through a cat-cow series. Inhale to drop the belly to the mat, open the gaze, send your chin high to the chest, and exhale to curve everything, chin to chest, tucking the spine. Continue this 2 to 3 more times. And then as you come back to neutral, tuck the toes. Inhale to engage the core and lift the knees 1 inch off the mat. You're going to hover here for just a moment while we fire up the core and get some heat moving through the body. And then as you exhale, lift your hips high to the ceiling for that downward facing dog. Get comfortable in your downward facing dog here. Pedal the feet one by one. Push the heels all the way to the mat. Stretching out your shoulders, aiming to get your chest close to your thighs. Really exaggerate the exhale here, sighing it out through the mouth, whatever you need. Inhale to push both heels down to the mat, grounding into your right hand and lifting your left hand off, reaching for it to clasp the outside of the right ankle. So you're going to do a bit of an underneath spinal twist, sending your gaze up to the sky from underneath your right arm. And if it's more comfortable to keep a nice generous bend in the knees, you can do so. Inhale to release the left hand, place it back, take a moment in downward facing dog, and then repeat on the other side, lifting the right hand off and reaching it back to grasp the outside of the left ankle. Send that gaze upwards and just breathe into a nice spinal twist. On your next exhale, release the hand, place it back down, come into a downward dog position. Inhale to really reach high up onto the tippy toes, ripple the upper body forward. Find yourself in a nice high plank for a moment before tucking the elbows in and lowering the body through a chaturanga. Inhaling, coming up to your up dog or baby cobra, and then exhale to tuck the heels, pushing your hips back and up for a downward dog. Moving through this nice fluid vinyasa once more. Inhale to ripple the body forward, exhale to lower to the mat with control, and then find your baby cobra or up dog, releasing the neck, looking side to side, and then sending the hips high and back once more for that downward dog. Inhale to ground into the left leg and swing the right leg high to the ceiling for that 3-legged dog. While it's in the air, just take some nice circles with the ankles, left and right, just creating some mobility there. And then bending into that knee, keeping it hovering in the air, and just allow that hip to really, really open up. And continue with some circles through the ankle, creating some nice mobility in space. On your next exhale, straighten back into that leg. And this time as you bend the knee, you're going to sweep it all the way down to come up into the chest. Stepping the foot up in between the hands, taking a moment in runner's lunge. Strong gaze forward, opening the chest, and then inhale to engage the core as you sweep the arms up to come off and overhead, bringing yourself into that nice crescent lunge. Reaching for a slight back bend, and then sweeping the arms back down again to frame the front foot. And then we're going to swap the legs this time, so your left leg is going to come up into your runner's lunge, and then creating, if you want to add in a jump, we're going to swap the legs, jumping, inhale to jump, and one more time. Really nice. Bringing your left leg back down to the back of your mat and stepping it up for your downward dog. Just creating some nice heat there. And then inhale to lift your left leg high to the ceiling, coming into that three-legged dog. Take a few circles with the ankle before bending into that knee and letting it hover in the air, sending each breath into that hip. And continuing with some nice ankle mobility, taking a few circles in each direction. Once again, exhale to straighten that leg into the air, really reach and stretch before bending into the knee and sweeping it all the way up into the chest, hovering it for a moment, and then stepping the foot up in between the hands. Strong gaze forward, and inhale to sweep the arms up and overhead, coming into that nice strong crescent lunge. And exhale, plant the hands back down, stepping the left foot back, bringing the right foot up, and then if you want to add a jump and swapping the legs 2 to 3 times before stepping it back into that plank. And from a plank, lower into your vinyasa, come up to a nice upward dog, and then send the hips high once again for a nice downward dog. Taking a further moment to pedal out the heels before bringing yourself back to neutral ground once again into the left leg, and swing the right leg high. Bend into that knee, and this time straight away swing it up into the chest. Really engage the core as you hover slightly before bringing your shin to place it down parallel to the top of your mat, and then lowering your back leg completely, coming into a nice pigeon pose. So you want your weight to be in the middle of your hips and not falling over to one side, flexing strongly into that front foot. And then if it's comfortable for you to fall over that front leg, just really breathing into the stretch that you feel in your right glute. And then creating space with the breath as well into that left hip. Coming back up onto your hands, and tuck your back leg, and then release your right leg back, stepping both legs back into a downward dog. Coming out of that position, inhale to swing your right leg up to the ceiling, and then we'll repeat it on the other side. Swing that right knee all the way into the chest, place your leg down so that your shin is parallel to the top of your mat, and flex into that foot. Exhale to walk your body down and over that front leg, making sure your weight is nice and even so you really feel a stretch into those glutes. And just breathe here in this position. Once again, come back up, walk your hands back into your body, tuck the back toes, and then release the left foot back, stepping into a downward dog. Bending both knees, and then looking forward to the top of your mat. Make the way to the top of your mat, either hop or step up, and we'll meet in a forward fold. Shake out the legs, loosen everything, plant the palms, and lower your hips all the way to your heels. And then exhale as you stretch once again to that forward fold. Inhale to lower, and exhale to stretch, just nicely opening up those hamstrings and further waking them up. From here, create a generous bend in the knees, and then roll up vertebrae by vertebrae to a strong standing position at the top of your mat. Head is the last thing to come up. Taking a nice moment to reground yourself, closing down your eyes, check in with your breath, straighten through the posture. Then inhale to bend the knees, sweep the arms to come up and overhead, reaching out of the hips. And then keeping the arms above the head, bend the left knee and lift it all the way up into the chest. Exhale to step that leg all the way back, come into your high crescent lunge. Before dropping the back heel down, finding your warrior one. Strong gaze forward. And then on an inhale, send your arms out either side of the body. Readjust on the back foot and then bend further into your warrior two, creating a strong gaze over your third finger. Feel the heat build up in the front thigh, and then exhale to extend both legs, reaching your front ribs forward and then splaying your arms down, coming into a nice Trikonasana pose. So your body is halfway over that front leg. And then peel yourself up using your core, coming back to a stance, bending into the front knee to sweep your front arm up and over this time, coming back behind you for a nice peaceful warrior and creating a nice side body stretch in the right side. We'll move out of this one more time. Use your arms to windmill themselves back down to the mat, plant the palms, and then step the back foot up to the top of the mat, meeting in your forward fold, grabbing the elbows and rocking side to side, releasing the back, releasing the neck. Fingertips come to shins here. Lift yourself up for a halfway lift, coming through a flat back, and then bend back, plant your palms, and jump back into your plank or step back. Moving through a nice vinyasa here, elbows tied into the body. Sweep yourself down to come up, meeting in our baby cobra, before exhaling and pushing our hips back once again to find our downward dog. We're not here for long, so we step up to the top of the mat, sweep your arms down to come up, bringing yourself to a nice standing position, and we'll go straight into the other side, peeling your right knee into your chest before stepping it back, finding your balance in your crescent lunge. And exhale, lower the back heel, finding warrior one, before readjusting and sending the arms out by the side for a warrior two. And as always, continuing with a really nice strong gaze and focus over that front hand, and then inhaling to straighten into both legs, leaning the ribs forward and just twisting down to come into your Trikonasana. Your left hand can rest gently on the inside of the front foot, and then using your core to bring yourself back up to standing. Exhale into that front knee, creating a nice 90-degree bend, reaching your arm up and over to come back and finding your peaceful warrior. Going back as far as you can and just placing a nice gentle amount of pressure on that back calf or thigh. And then last time, windmilling the arms back up through your warrior two, and then eventually down to your mat to frame the front foot. And then step your front leg back into a plank for just a moment. Slightly bend into the knees and walk your hands back to your feet this time. From this position, roll up to standing, where we'll meet at the back of our mat. Once you roll up gently and in your own time, take some nice big circles with your arms, swinging them up and back down, creating some nice shoulder mobility and just loosening anything out, any tension that might have built up, shaking out the legs. And then come into a nice strong stance before inhaling to tuck the chin to the chest and slowly roll down. Once you get down to the mat, create a walk out, walk your hands to the top of the mat, meet in a plank pose, and then peel your right knee up into the chest, step through your runner's lunge. And then with your back leg, you're going to step that halfway up the mat, where there's a nice comfortable triangular shape in between your 2 feet, so about the distance of 2 feet apart, and then just fold your body over the front leg. Inhale to lift halfway, really lift out of the hips, and then exhale to fold further over that leg, feeling a nice deep stretch into the front hamstring. So from here, in preparation for our peak pose, walk your fingertips slightly ahead in front of you, lift off your back toes, and then extend your left leg up to the ceiling for a standing split. Not forcing anything as we're still warming up. Exhale to bend your left knee, bend the right knee, and then bring the left knee to tap the back of the right calf. Inhale, extend. Exhale once again, bend the knee, bring it all the way down, so you're coming all the way closer to your mat. Left knee taps right calf, and then extend. Just really building up some nice heat in the legs. Continue this movement, using your hands to help you balance. And then last time from our standing split, you're going to step your left foot back, reach up into a high crescent lunge. Inhale to extend both legs and exhale, lower into that lunge as you cactus the arms down to a 90-degree angle. Exhale to sweep the arms down to come up before windmilling them back down to frame the front foot, and then release the right leg to the back of your mat, meeting in a plank pose. Quickly going over to the other side, bend that left knee all the way up into the chest, step it up to the top of your mat, bend that back foot, and then step it up halfway, creating that nice triangular stretch, however close or far away you need to just really get a nice stretch into that hamstring. Folding over the leg. Inhale to come up halfway for a flat back, lifting out of the hips to allow you to fold further and closer to that leg. If you need to keep a generous bend in the knee, please do so. And then you know the drill. So on this side, we're going to continue that preparation for a standing split peak pose. Walk the hands slightly in front of you. Inhale to stretch the right leg up into the air. Exhale to bend that right knee, bend the left knee. You're just going to tap your right knee to your right calf. And inhale, extend. Exhale to bend, tapping the knee to the calf. You're almost hooking it into the back of the kneecap. And then inhale, extend. I'm going to do this one more time. Lower everything with control. Extend that right leg long, pointing to the toes. And then with control and balance, step that right leg back and down to the back of your mat, sweeping your arms up and overhead for a crescent lunge. Inhale to stretch both legs, and then exhale as you pull your arms down into that strong cactus pose, bend into that front knee. Sweep your arms down to come up once again overhead. Really open the chest and allow any energy to come in here. Send the arms down to the mat to frame the front foot, and exhale as you step the left foot back to the back of your mat. Lower, release the knees all the way to the mat, and send your arms out in front of you. Bring your chest down. Take a moment in puppy pose. Tuck the toes and then send your hips high to the sky for a downward dog. Not here for long. As you inhale, lift high up onto your tippy toes and ripple the body forward, moving through a fluid vinyasa to making your way down to your mat, coming up into that baby cobra or up dog, and then pushing your hips back to the ceiling for downward dog. Really making it fluid here as you ripple back into that plank, lower down to the chest, to the mat, high for your baby cobra, and then downward dog once again. Trying to keep the body moving here, keeping the heat flowing. Ground into the left leg, swing your right leg high for a three-legged dog, and then bend into the knee, sweep the knee up into the chest and step the foot in between the hands. We're going to make our way into our peak pose here, moving through a standing split. So bend into your left leg, lift the left leg up to meet the right, and then as you bend from a standing position, your body's in forward fold. Ground yourself strong in your hands, and then extend the left leg into the air, finding your standing split. Try not to make this passive here. You want to keep pushing your leg as high as it can go and using that balance. If you want to further test your balance, lift one hand off. You can even hold your leg with your hand. Using your breath to steady your focus, gently place both hands back to the mat and then bend gently into the right supporting leg. Lower your left leg back down behind you. Take a moment in your runner's lunge. We're going to move through that peak pose one more time. Just focus on getting your breath back. And then exhale to step the left leg back up, bend into it, and then slowly, gently unfold it as you lift it into the air, coming into your standing split. If you did lift one hand off on the other side, you might want to try and challenge the other hand or your other arm, which you might have less balance with. But there's no judgment in wherever you are in your balance and your standing split. It's only a progress, and you can practice this daily. Inhale then, finally to release that left leg back, coming into our runner's lunge. Step the right foot back into that plank before swapping over for the other side. So your left leg comes up into that runner's lunge, hands on either side, and then the right leg comes up to follow. Generously bend into that right leg. Once you've got a strong stance in the hands, your body's folded over your left leg. And then inhale to peel the right leg up to a standing pose. and pushing into that standing split. To help you get further into that split, really extend the leg, locking the knee that's in the air, pointing through the toes. And if you lifted one hand off on the other side, just place your hand maybe on your leg to keep you still grounded. And then bring both hands back to the ground, bend into that knee and step the right leg back. Taking a moment again in that runner's lunge, really open through the shoulders, roll the shoulders back. Focus on your breath. And then in your own time, bring your right leg back up to the top of your mat. Plant the palms strong onto the floor. And then peel the right leg up into your standing split. Really stretch into the air for our last peak pose of the practice. Keeping a nice focus and balance, not forgetting to breathe. Last few moments before we plant the hands down once again. Bend gently into that knee and bring it all the way back to the top of your mat. We're going to meet here in a forward fold before sending your feet out to the width of your mat and lowering the hips down, coming into a nice Malasana pose. Letting everything gently and with control relax down, bring your hands together in prayer in front of the chest. And then gently guide yourself down to a seated position. Bring yourself halfway down the mat. A nice bend into the knees as you use your core to really roll down vertebrae by vertebrae, bringing your whole body down to a lying position. Once you're down and your back is fully on the mat, stretch your arms open overhead and just move through a nice full body stretch. Sighing it out through the mouth and relieving the body, relieving any tension. Placing the hands back on the hips and taking some hip rock side to side, noticing if there's any tension that may have been built up in the body. And on a nice big inhale, bring the knees into the chest and just rock and side to side, also giving yourself a nice release through the back muscles. And then bringing the knees back to neutral, extend the legs up to the ceiling. Exhale to lower the right leg down to the mat. And then the left. We're just going to move through some nice core work here to end the class. Swapping legs, bringing them to touch an inch off the mat, hovering and really using your core, making sure your lower back's flat to the mat. And then introducing the arm. You're going to extend same arm as leg. Inhale, right leg goes down, right arm goes behind you. And exhale to go to the left side. Inhale, right arm and right leg extends. And exhale, left arm, left leg. One more time on each side. Before bending the knees back into the chest, hugging them nice and tight, rolling side to side. And then eventually rocking forward and back, using some momentum to swing you back up to seated on your mat. When you get to your mat, you're just going to stay with your legs extended out long. Coming into one final stretch, Thomas, just cool down the legs, shake them out, lay them out strong and straight in front of you. And then as you bring yourself to straighten into your left leg, bend that right knee all the way up into the inner side of your left thigh. Bring the sole of your right foot onto your left thigh and then extend your body down and over. If it's nice and easy for you to grasp that foot, flex into the foot and just pull yourself further over that leg. Feel your body just coming back to a nice temperature and rhythm and really relax into this stretch. Exhale to swap over the legs. You extend your right leg out long, left leg bends in and the sole of the foot meets the inside of the right thigh. Flex into the right foot as you lift your arms up and overhead to relax down over that right leg. Feel the space in your back, open through the shoulder blades. And exhale, fold and melt. And last time, inhale to peel your body up, coming into a seated position, meeting in a nice cross-legged position on your mat, straightening through the spine one more time, and just checking in how your posture feels and where your posture is at now at the end of the class. Take some circles with the back side to side, loosen everything out, check in with the neck where the tension is, looking right to left, and then moving through some half head rolls, just creating a nice stretch in the back of the neck. Slowly rolling the neck from right to left and incorporating a full head roll if it's comfortable for you, and then gently coming back to a neutral spine Sweep the arms up and overhead, lift the gaze up to the hands, join the hands together in prayer, and then lower them to meet in front of the heart center, where we will close this practice. Thank you so much for joining me again. Let me know if you liked this class or any feedback, if there's anything you would like to focus on in a certain flow. I would love to know. Thank you.